Hello, everyone, and welcome back to No Cap Space. We're here. We're here. Don't let anyone fool you and tell you that March Madness starts on Friday. That's cap. And we're in the no cap space. The March Madness starts now.
Okay.
Look, it is. That's cap. That's cap. Speaking of caps, you know a place you can get some really good ones? Home field. Our lovely friends at Home Field, where the Home Field No Cap Space collection is live. Link is currently in the description as we speak. Every piece of women's basketball merchandise all in one place for you. And you can use code NOCAP15 and get 15% off your first purchase. And folks, this is day one. This is day one of us going live every single night for this March Madness tournament. When I tell you we are start to finish here with you, we mean it. And that starts here with the first four. Even though March Madness has started, the bracket challenge has not closed. Andrew, remind the people what's at stake here with our No Cap Space bracket challenge.
Oh, there's plenty. So we have a few different things. So if you are the first place winner of our No Cap Space bracket challenge on ESPN, which Tyler will kindly put into the live chat for those that aren't signed up, you get a 1-year free subscription to No Cap Space WBB and our paid subscriber tier, which gets you all sorts of cool perks and stories and features that you won't get anywhere else or otherwise. Also, a $50 home field gift card. Second place gets a 6-month paid subscription and any home field t-shirt on the site up to $38. And then third place, a 3-month subscription and any hat on home field site up to $36. So a whole lot of everything for anyone that is interested. Our friends at Home Field are getting us flossed up for this year, and they'll get you right, especially as we head towards the springtime as well. So that is still open, still sign up, still a lot of great stuff coming on. But dude, I mean, we ended up getting pretty good basketball for a couple of first four matchups.
These were very solid games.
Good. Southern's got a nice little storyline here. Look. This is what we want. This is what we want out of our first fours. Compelling games with stakes, and I think we got that tonight.
Yeah, we could start off with this Southern UC San Diego game. I mean, first off, congratulations to Southern, their first ever NCAA tournament win. Like, that's what I love about the NCAA tournament is like there's so many, like, obviously, you have teams that just have, every team has different expectations and everything. But like, if you just look, the stories are there, and like the accomplishments are everywhere to be seen, whether it's making the tournament, whether it's winning your first game. And like, so I never want to like sleep on these moments in the tournament, because this is that program has made history tonight. And I love that. And I mean, Sanaya Reed for Southern was fantastic off the bench. My goodness. What was it? 8 of 10, 24 points, 5 of 5 from the free throw line, 3 of 4 from 3 point. I mean, come on, bro. Like that, just straight buckets the entire game. It was lovely.
Quite literally the best time to have the best game of your year.
Yes,
like statistically highest scoring output of the season, most efficient scoring game of the year, best 3-point shooting game of the year. I mean, she had a whole lot of everything for them. Off the bench, she was great. And, I love the point that you made about the fact that this is an important thing for Southern, right? Mm-hmm. Like, this is a SWAC team that's gone to the NCAA tournament 6 different times and has been 0-6 in every single one. And, the NCAA tournament is great in this respect because, we have the field of 68, and I know we are so like terminally ring-pilled in a lot of different sports right now. And when it comes to even coaching turnover in college basketball, men's or women's, to get to a Sweet 16 or to get to an Elite 8, like that, if you do that every single year at most schools that aren't like true blue bloods, they will build a statue of you at that school. And I think that's what we sometimes miss in rings culture and finals culture here and title culture is like those conversations are reserved for the GOATs, right? Like the people that we're doing rings culture stuff with is Caitlin Clark, is Gina Wariema, is Dawn Staley, is Angel Reese, like all of those people, Diana Taurasi, Angel Wilson, etc. But for these teams like Southern or like a Montana State or a Stephen F. Austin, although they're a going back, they're a much more prominent program.
Yeah,
But like
yeah.
to get to this tournament matters. It means something. It means you win your conference. It means you win your conference tournament as well. And I think we can't lose sight of that, and how cool that is. Even if you're a 16 seed and this is like, happy to be here vibes kind of the rest of the way, you won a game in the NCAA tournament. That's something these kids are going to remember for the rest of their lives. And Sanaya Reed, man, I don't know where this has been all year, but boy, she looked great. Like
fantastic. Yeah.
Just beyond like making the shots. Like I'm talking like an aesthetic jumper. Like she has an aesthetic jumper. I was like, damn, where the hell has this been all year?
Yeah.
And on 24 points, it was great. I was expecting a little bit more help from UC San Diego. I was kind of surprised to see how well Southern shut down Gracie Gallegos. She was the one that blew up in the Big West final against UC Davis. She had 24 in that game. I think she had just 2 points tonight. But I also want to give a shout out to Samaya Sugapong from UCSD. I mean, they're not here without her. She hits the buzzer beater to beat Hawaii, who is the Big West regular season champion. She had 28 points in their quarterfinal game. A really good season for UCSD, and also like a wild backdoor way for Tara Vanderveer to still make the NCAA tournament.
Bro, the Vanderveer streak keeps going. Like Tara being there in the Stanford
court might not be here, but like,
oh my goodness. Crazy. Like Stanford made it to the NCAA tournament, everybody. That's why she wore the quarter zip. That's why. There we go. Okay. Because I was like, what? I had to like maybe this was just, maybe this was just clean, but no, Stanford officially, the streak is alive. Don't let them lie to you. Fake news. The Stanford streak is alive. Don't let anyone tell you different. I definitely won't be telling Tara Vanderveer different. I think this comment.
And for those that don't know, Tara's younger sister Heidi is the head coach at UC San Diego. So Tara was there being a supportive big sister, but still repping that tree, being like WBIT. I don't know her.
I don't know what that is. I am unfamiliar.
40 straight years. Bitch. Count that.
Yeah, no, I love it. This comment's so funny. The only road teams to win in Poly Pavilion are USC and Southern. Makes you think.
Hey man, 16-1. Like,
come on, it's not impossible.
It was the West Coast team that year too.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, again, this was a fantastic performance from Southern. The defense, especially in the first half, like UC San Diego kind of got to go in the second half a little bit more, but that first half defense, they were locked down. And I mean, again, I also think it's important to note, like, as the revenue sharing rules and all these different things change, like winning an NCAA tournament game it's massive. Like, I mean, obviously, varying wins, as far as you go and yada yada. But like, I mean, for these programs, especially, I mean, for programs that may still not have the funding I mean, probably most, especially these lower, like the lower seeded programs are not going to have the funding to that a lot of these programs have, and there's a lot of schools that have not caught up. So if you're able to not only make it to the tournament, if you're not, you win your conference, but then you go and win a game. That's why, like, I understand the conversation around like not wanting to put like conference tournament winners into like the winning in, like the playing games, the first four. But even though I kind of agree with that, but also the opportunity now to potentially go and win money by winning an NCAA tournament game, that's a genuine benefit here, and I think it's very interesting to see. Obviously, as these rules progress and we see different investment and whatnot, like how that can genuinely impact some of these programs and the way that their trajectory can go up by an NCAA tournament appearance and especially an NCAA tournament win like this.
Well, and beyond that too, like when you think about teams like Southern, right, HBCUs or smaller mid majors. They take these bye games with high majors and get their ass beat like the first 10 games of the year, because the money they get from the bye games is what keeps their athletic departments afloat. So to your point, it allows a little bit more budgetary flexibility that you don't have to schedule that way. And you can schedule maybe a different mid-major or a lower tier high major that you actually have the opportunity to beat which can help your net, which can give you a quad 1 or a quad 2, I'd say quad 2, quad 3 win that you might not get in conference play, which can then help your seeding and help you get more chances to win. So like there's knock-on effects that can happen here too. Cool stuff for Southern. Good to see UC San Diego here. Before we go to Princeton, Iowa State, my only critique of this, and like first fours, even at the neutral sites for the men's tournament, the attendance is lacking. I think I like on one end host sites for top 4 seeds. I think it's a cool, unique thing to the women's tournament. I also don't necessarily know yet if we're there in the women's game where like if you were to put the first 2 rounds in Denver,
just various locations and whatnot.
Yeah, like if you were to do like say what we have now, right? Like UCLA, Southern, Richmond, Georgia Tech. I don't know if the sport's in a place yet where if that was in Denver, you would get like you guarantee the bottom bowl at the very least gets filled. So I like host sites for a couple of reasons, but I think my issue is outside of host sites, the biggest problem is, or outside of the host, nobody shows up for these things, you know?
Yeah.
Like who in South Bend, Michigan is going to be a little different because it's like Big Ten country, but like, again, for Richmond and Georgia Tech, like how many people are going to roll up in Pauley to do that? Right.
Yeah.
So it's this kind of like Faustian bargain. Like you either put it in there or you put it at a neutral site where the attendance might still not be great. So there's this kind of weird spot where from the Sweet 16 on, the attendance is good. Getting those first 2 rounds is what's going to tell me that we've broken containment on the tournament as a whole. So that's kind of what I'm excited to say. And hey, shout out to friend of the show, Jalen Sherrod, with an accurate Southern prediction.
Yes. So that's your preview for the people on the stream is that Jalen Sherrod is on the show tomorrow. Dropping tomorrow on the YouTube. That's your little preview. She shouted out Southern. She called the Southern win today. So shout out to Southern. And Jalen came on and did a little myth busting for us for the NCAA tournament. So that's what you got to look forward to tomorrow, along with a couple other uploads. There's a lot of content. We got a lot of stuff in the chamber right now, yo. So shout out to Jalen.
It's like the Popeyes meme already.
I'm telling you,
this
is just day one. This is just day one. But yeah, I mean, again, massive shout out to Southern, and I mean, again, the type of stuff that can, just the momentum of that can help propel a program in a completely different trajectory. So shout out to Southern. Let's talk Iowa State Princeton. This game was fun. Iowa State looked a little shaky in that first half. Looked a little shaky. And then the third quarter came and they kind of just hit the Uno reverse card on Princeton. Bill Fennelly just like wasn't taking timeouts in the first half. But look, it worked out. You know, like trusted the team. And we'll talk about this game, but this is what kind of intrigues me about the potential Michigan matchup is like you have an Emily Ryan on this team that is very experienced, that has seen just about everything that you can on the basketball court for this Iowa State team. Obviously, it has not been the year that Iowa State expected. I mean, this is a team that was preseason top 10, I think, if I'm mistaken, right there, if not top 10. Hey, there you go. So, like, obviously not the season that was anticipated for Iowa State, but like they were projected that high for good reason. And this second half, I think was kind of a big kind of example of what that can possibly be. And a lot of that, who to me is one of the most underrated players in the nation, is Addie Brown, who, like, obviously Addie Crooks got a lot of the love last year, and understandably so, because Addie was phenomenal in her own right. But Addie Brown is so good, like so good. And when you have two players putting up 22 and 27, obviously Addie kind of really turned it up and was able to drop 27. But you have two players combining for that. And you have a point guard, Emily Ryan, who is just that vet in that way. Like, you go up against a team that obviously relies on freshmen in Michigan in that way. And, like, it's an intriguing probably, and it's a weird matchup as well, because Michigan is just plays smaller. Like, they just, like, that's just kind of what they do, generally speaking. And obviously Iowa State has, like, you have bigs that are both able to do different things, but also can just both simply outsize you. And I'm very intrigued. But for this matchup specifically, we'll dive into the Michigan one. I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. But But what did you kind of take away from this game?
Well, I wrote in our daily previews, which are on nocapspacewbb.com for all of our paid ball knowers. So hit the link. Consider a free trial for this week. Just given the amount of stuff that we have, we're going to be doing all of these wraps every night that are for free, and then the daily previews are for the folks that really can't get enough of the NCAA tournament. But I wrote in today's preview that Audi Crooks is going to get hers. That's not what you got to stop when you play Iowa State. You have to stop Addie Brown and Emily Ryan. Yep. And that is a hit and miss proposition. Emily Ryan's kind of had a really strange year, man. I mean, she was red hot through, a stretch of January, and then just kind of falls apart from late January to early February. There's a 6-game slate where she doesn't score in double figures. She's 2-9 and 2-7. There's a couple games where she's not shooting more than 5 times in a matchup. And then all of a sudden she explodes in February where she's getting double-digit shot attempts again. The 3-point shot is starting to fall. She's starting to share the ball and get active on the boards. And you saw a little bit more of that in this particular matchup, even though she didn't shoot particularly well, 4 of 11 on the night, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals. That's enough to fill the stat sheet and get you kind of where you need to be, just from two sides of the ball perspective, right? Yeah. That's a person that's making it an impact, even if the ball isn't going in the net, and that's what you need her to be. You can't just wipe her out of the game entirely. Addie Brown can show bursts of scoring. She had a 31-point game against TCU this year. She had that 40-burger in the Big 12 conference tournament against Arizona State. We're going to limit that a little bit because Arizona State, to quote my homie Bart Scott, couldn't stop a nosebleed this entire season. But she has shown a propensity to be able to score and to be able to be active on the boards as well as being a solid defender. If you manage to stop her, this team falls apart. And Princeton did not do that. 22 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists for Addie Brown on 9 of 16 shooting. And you could tell, I think, Princeton just got tired. And it makes a lot of sense, right? This is a team that went through a gauntlet, and this is the tough and tricky part about some of these mid-majors. And when you're making your bracket, you still have chances too. That's something to wait a little bit, like WEIGHT, when you're making your decisions, is which of these teams just finished their tournament in the last 3 days.
Yeah, because Ivy's literally just got done.
Ivy's done on a Saturday, right?
Yeah, I think it's the Friday, Saturday, yeah.
Yeah, so you're waiting, 3 days, 4 days of rest versus a week for Iowa State, a team that's significantly fresher. And you saw it in the fourth quarter. Princeton's getting close, about a minute left. I think it's a 6-point game maybe. And I think Fatima Tall had just gotten fouled at the 3-point line. And you're thinking, okay, one stop and you're good. And I think it was Emily Ryan that just literally blew by Sky Belker shoots a 3. It circles all the way down the drain and then pops back out. Yeah. And they go on the other side of the floor. And either Ryan or Brown literally just does a blow by. And not the kind of blow by that's tough finish.
Yeah, defensive laps.
You just passed a tired person on the way to them. And to me, that was the indicator of they're just exhausted. They exploded in the second quarter. They had 27-7 in the second quarter. And then in the third quarter, Iowa State responds 27-9.
Uno reverse.
The thing with Audi Crooks, and this is my critique of Bill Fennelly in Iowa State this year, she doesn't look like all that different of a player from last season. She does a lot of the same stuff. It's like Taylor Jones when she was at Oregon State. You pass it to her in the post where she's got position to literally hold the ball high, turn and shoot. And that's really effective. You can do that, especially if you're a super efficient shooter like Oregon State 8 with Taylor Jones and then Reagan Beers doing this last year. But Audi just kind of does that. And it feels like all you need to do is frustrate her by sending traps, doubles, triples the minute there's an entry pass into the post. And once that happens, she's done. Like the ball will likely be turned over, or, she'll have to find a pass out really quickly. And I think she's someone who, if she doesn't have that immediate first opportunity to shoot, she needs to take the time to like back you down and decide what she's going to do next. There's not that, like big passer's mentality where like she can almost innately sense the double and know, okay, ball in, double's coming, swing out to somebody on the perimeter. They get that at different moments from her, but I think this year I just wanted to see it a little bit more consistent, because then that makes her so much scarier, right?
Yeah.
And to like the critique of Fennelly, you have who was one of the best 3-point shooters in the country last year in Lily Hansford, and literally Oregon State did this all last year. Like Reagan Beers gets doubled. They pass out to Hansford, and she hits a three, and she was like a 46% 3-point shooter last year. You got this girl wasting away playing 5 minutes.
I was about to say, like, I feel like I haven't even heard her name this season.
Not at all.
And like that makes no sense. Like I literally pull up the game log to look, and I'm like, I see 0, 0, 0, 0, but like the minutes aren't even there. Like it makes literally no sense.
Like that's you literally have a 3-point specialist when you need the shooting. And so I feel like she's been really underutilized this season for them. It's not the first time that Fennelly's gotten a really good transfer and just kind of not done a ton with them. But I think Iowa State I think they're good. I think they're fine. I think threes are more than twos, simple math, honestly. And when you come up against Michigan and you come up against Silas Swords and Olivia Olson and, just that whole group, Greta Camp Schrader, like, dog, they shoot the ball, they move fast, they frustrate you. And I don't know if Iowa State has that kind of athleticism and speed to handle it.
Yeah.
Like the best Iowa State teams were teams with Lexi Donarski and Ashley Jones, who I hate to affix like the white person sneaky athletic moniker to them, but low-key, they were both sneaky athletic. Like, let's be real. Like, there was a little bit of Cooper DeJean in the Iowa State Cyclones the last few years, right?
It's an Iowa thing.
But it was one of those things where I felt that they had really athletic defenders that could handle just about anybody.
That were also bigger than you thought too.
Yes.
Like Ashley Jones is like tall. Like they were like, I remember seeing them at the Big 12 tournament, like being able to see it in person, and was just like amazed in like those years, like just how disruptive that they really are, because that's not what you pegged that team as being, but they had it. Like it was legit. It was legit.
Yeah. So that to me is there's a clear ceiling on Iowa State. I don't necessarily feel that it has to be one of these things where, you make the first round of the tournament and we are already writing your obituary, like to the point that I made about the fact that these things are important just to get to in the first place. I don't think this means Fennelly has to go, but I mean, look, you got to do something with this kid. Like Audie Crooks is too good to not get better, to not develop, to not be developed, and to not be the star in March that we want her to be, man. Like she put up 40 spot last year and almost beat Stanford almost single-handedly. Like we deserve a little bit more of her. It's like Anissa Morrow at DePaul before she transferred to LSU. And we're like, damn, this girl literally is averaging 24 and 12 and we never get to see her at the end of the season. Yeah. I think that's something that I would like a little bit, I would like to see that. I don't know if they're going to be able to get past Michigan, but hey, if they do, then that means we get more Audie Crooks, and that's a good thing in itself. Yeah,
no, I'm with you. That's where I'm like obviously you have like the size differential, and like if Iowa State is able to take advantage of that, like great, more power to them. But like I feel like the chance of Michigan being able to take advantage of the size of Iowa State and when it comes to the speed that they play with, the shooting, all the things you mentioned, I just feel like that's so much more likely than what Iowa State being able to go and take advantage of their strengths. But that's why we play the game. So I'm intrigued to see. I do want to bring this comment up because Princeton, we were talking right before we got on here. Princeton is young. Princeton is going to be very good. Like they're going to be very good. And this point right here, Madison St. Rose, you lose your leading scorer right at the very beginning of the season. It was like 4 or 5 games in, if I'm not mistaken. Like it was very early on. And this point is massive, that like you're able to get in as an at-large without your leading scorer. You have young players on this team. Like, this is going to be an Ivy League without Harmony Turner in it this coming this following season. Like, Princeton, obviously that's way far in advance, but like I keep your eye on don't forget about Princeton next year and the Ivies next year, just because if Harmony Turner isn't in the Ivy League dropping 40, like don't forget about the Nerds, because I am very intrigued at what Princeton ends up becoming next year when they get Madison St. Rose back and these players all get this extra year of experience.
Well, and just to touch on that quickly before we do like a little quick primer on what we're going to get tomorrow. Madison St. Rose was supposed to be Caitlin Chen this year. But Caitlin Chen transfers to UConn for her 5th year, and Madison St. Rose is supposed to fill that void, and she gets hurt like 10 games into the year, and you have a bunch of underclassmen needing to fill that role. Carla Berube is a phenomenal coach. She comes off the Geno tree. She played for him at UConn. She had a ton of success at Tufts, a D3 school, and has had success after success at Princeton. And the one thing about these Ivies, man, is that they don't really lose people to the portal, because you, if any, are handing away a Ivy League education and the opportunities that come after with that to go play ball, at a school that, might not be on the same level academically. And that's also people that are like in like their families aren't letting them do that. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Taking into consideration someone like Bella Allery, right, who was a star at Princeton, 3-time Player of the Year, AP All-American, played for the Wings for a couple of years and then retired. We always joke that she's going to be the next commissioner.
That's the next commish.
Yeah, dude, 2024. She's on Georgetown's staff as the director of player development. So like that's what kind of awaits you on the other side. It's like the ability.
I mean, we heard it from Harmony when we interviewed Harmony Turner early in the year. Like, she could have left. She could have left if you know what I'm saying, people. She could have left, and that was the discussion that was had. Was like, not only was that something that she had started and wanted to finish at Harvard, and obviously it's worked out great, but like that the later years that come like with an Ivy League education were a major part in why she didn't go and chase after an NIL bag in the portal. And again, they were there. She told us. You can go find the interview here on YouTube. She told us. So like, again, I'm very intrigued at what Princeton is going to become next year. And to your point, this is a team that should be very stable. Like, the roster should be very stable and already an impressive year, even with the injury to Madison St. Rose. So again, just very, very impressed for them to even make it in as an at-large. Like, again, like that's the type of injury that can completely derail your season. Yet they did not let that happen. You get in as an at-large. And again, it's just another accomplishment in these NCAA tournaments. Again, it's the wins within the larger wins of the NCAA tournament. But let's talk about these next games that we got tomorrow. We'll be back here live, so go ahead and mark your calendars. Get ready. Give me the elevator pitch on these games. Like what are we feeling? We'll start with Washington, Columbia. Tell me why I need to have my eyes on this game.
Yeah. So the great thing about this, we have a timer so I can see. So I'll give you 60 seconds or less on each of these games. And then if you want to read a little bit more of a deeper primer.
There you go. Get the tape. Come on now. Get the sample.
Okay. Washington and Columbia, 11 seed versus 11 seed. Columbia, obviously one of the biggest and best 3 Ivies this year. They got a sophomore from Hewlett, New York named Riley Weiss, who, for my money, probably was an Ivy League Player of the Year understudy behind Harmony Turner. She's about an 18-point-a-game scorer and really is incredible. They do it by committee there as well, but she is really the engine that makes it all go. Washington's had a bit of an up-and-down year, but they do have scorers. L.A. Dean is phenomenal for this team. Tina Langley is a good coach. Like, I believe in her in the long term. It feels like this team was supposed to be a little better on paper than they were, but between Ladine and Savia Sellers, there is a chance here that they could mess around and do something. If you recall earlier in the year, they had LSU on the ropes in a non-con tournament and kind of sold the clip later in the game in the fourth quarter. So they have the top end if they show up and get right and shoot the ball well. This game under the radar is actually one of the better and more even matchups of the tournament for my money. In the 16-16 game, High Point is the Big South winner. I don't really have a lot for you on the Big South. Kind of a down conference this year at the expense of being a dick about it, like pretty unremarkable in a lot of ways. I watched a lot of basketball, and High Point and Longwood was not exactly on my radar, even though it was sneaking into the watch guide every now and then. William and Mary, however, Coach Kanaya Cole, man, one of the OG friends of W Twitter and women NCAA W Twitter, I guess you could say. Former Hampton grad, she was former Hampton coach. She's an assistant coach on the William and Mary staff now, and this team is a phenomenal story. They were 13 and 18, I think, when they came into the CAA tournament. They upset the number 1 seed North Carolina A&T. They went on to beat Campbell. It's the first ever conference tournament championship for the Tribe. It is also the first ever NCAA tournament in men's or women's college basketball.
Oh.
So again, to your point, these are 16 seeds, but this shit means something to them. And so when you have a team like William and Mary, who even just a win means the world to the school and the world to the program, that's the team you got to root for and the team you got to watch. That's going to be our direct lead-in to our show tomorrow night.
There we go. Thank you all, folks, for tapping in. Again, this is just day one.
I went over again.
Yeah,
my producers at work would tell me that this is nothing new. So
yeah, hey.
I told you this was going to be a 20-minute show, and it's 31 minutes in. So what are you going to do?
It's fine. I mean, look, man. It is what it is. But no, thank y'all for tapping in here today. Again, tomorrow is a stacked day of uploads on YouTube. I'll tell you, you know what? We'll since y'all are here, we'll give you all the preview. We got Jordan Robinson on the show. We got Bonagain on the show. We got Jalen Sherrod on the show, giving us the behind the scenes. Andrew, do we want to tell them our last guest is coming on Friday while we're here?
One of the greatest NCAA women's basketball coaches of all time, a coach who has won everywhere she's been, who has coached greats from Lisa Leslie to Nancy Lieberman and everywhere in between. Marianne Stanley is going to join the show and talk about the coach's perspective of getting ready for an NCAA tournament, how to manufacture boogeymen and bulletin board material, as we've seen from top coaches in the sport this week. We get an inside track on the science behind doing it. And not only some of her favorite tournament memories and player memories, but also some very interesting Diana Taurasi memories, because Marianne has been a coach in women. She was coaching the WNBA for a big chunk of DT's career. So with the retirement, pretty new and up here, we decided, hey, why not? Why
not ask? And she had a fantastic story about it. So make sure you tap in. By
the way, we do have a TBD on another legend of legends that may be joining us as well.
So we'll leave the eye emojis on that one. We'll leave the eye emojis. Yes. We've been in the No Cap Rolodex seeing what we can find for you guys and bringing you guys all these bracket breakdowns and insight into the March Madness tournament. But again, Marianne Stanley, that's Friday morning. It was such a dope conversation we had. It was recorded early today. It was awesome. So be on the lookout for that. And again, we'll be here tomorrow. We'll be here the day after that. We'll have boots on the ground in Columbia. We'll have boots on the ground for Iowa and Oklahoma's games here in Norman. We are everywhere. And most importantly, we are here on YouTube. So make sure you're subscribed, because we will be live every single night. And then, again, like Andrew was saying, the previews are paid subs on nocapspacewbb.com. You go get your free trial right now. Test it out for this week. See how you're liking it. Go check out our past pay work as well while you're at it. Just go get the full array of what's offered at nocapspacewbb.com. You can find that in the description below. Also, bracket challenge, description below. Go win you some home field prices. Go win you a paid subscription. If you're a real ball knower, go improve it. Go improve it in the No Cap Space Bracket Challenge. And, of course, the No Cap Space Home Field Collection. No Cap 15, get 15% off your first purchase. Every piece of women's basketball merch, of the incredible Home Field women's basketball merch, all in one place for you. That is the No Cap Space Collection. Goodness, these outros are getting long. We have so much to talk about, so much going on at No Cap Space. And we are so thankful that you guys chose us tonight as your women's basketball coverage. We will see y'all back here tomorrow night. First four is still March Madness, so we're here to talk about it. We will see y'all tomorrow night.